One of my favorite things in the world is when me and my best friend are texting about whatever we're texting about, going back and forth, and then also somehow simultaneously having a completely separate conversation in our DMs that is equally important and equally captivating and probably somehow even more tea. And we're literally going back and forth between texting and DMing in tandem, like at the exact same moment. And I bring this up because, honey, having two separate conversations with the same exact person simultaneously is l'essence of Gemini season, okay? Ooh, de Gemini. So happy, freaky, deaky birthday, Gemini. The sun is moving into Gemini, but wait, that's not all, because the sun is also about to smooch Uranus, the planet of shock and awe. So this week is giving chaos, but is it chaotic good, like texting and DMing? Or is it chaotic evil, like texting and DMing your boyfriend and then someone else on the side? Or is it chaotic neutral, like just hanging out and living life in the year of our Lord 2026? We're going to have to find out, okay? This is the brew. This is the astrology. Hello, hello, and welcome to Astrology with Aliza Kelly. I am your host and your spiritual friend, Aliza Kelly, and I'm so happy you're here. This is your weekly brew. I serve it hot and fresh every single Monday. The theme of this week is Think Fast. And the top 3 things to know are, number 1, Gemini season starts this week, and that means we are about to have twice the fun, twice the chaos. Yeah, exactly what I said. Twice the fun, Gemini style. So happy birthday, you sexy little twins. We cannot wait to be invited to one of your many parties. Number 2, immediately after the sun moves into Gemini, it makes the very first ever conjunction to Uranus in Gemini in 84 years. This is a Uranus cazimi, and that means things are gonna get really extra crazy. And then number 3, at the top of the week, Mars is moving into Taurus, Venus is moving into Cancer, which means that even amongst the cuckoo-ness, we are going to find some lovely moments to stop and smell the roses, feel the sand between our toes, and maybe even get a little romance into. If you have been joining us week after week after week, thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for bringing astrology into your life. I am so excited about this show and all of the things that we pour and sip and serve and spill together. And if you're new, welcome to the party. I'm so glad that you're here. Just FYI, I'm here every Monday. That's when I deliver your horoscopes and insight into the week ahead, along with a journal prompt and a tarot pull. It's all very divine. And then on Wednesdays, I have very, very hot tea, okay? This is when we have a tea party and we steep deep into bigger astrological and mystical and magical themes. And obviously, our episodes are available wherever you are, wherever you want them to be. I'm on YouTube, I'm on Spotify, I'm on Apple. You know, I'm out there in the ether. And of course, you are too. Thank you for being here. Thank you for building our community. You know, this show is still a baby, believe it or not. It's still an infant. So if you please, s'il vous plaît, I would so appreciate if you could take a moment to give this a 5-star rating, to give this a bountiful review, and of course to follow, subscribe to the show so that you never ever miss an episode. Also, did you know that I'm hosting a retreat this summer? Yes. For the wild and amazing life-changing solar eclipse that's happening in August, join me at the Omega Institute in Rhinebeck, New York on August 7th, 8th, and 9th for a very powerful astrology weekend retreat. We have tons of different accommodation options available at different price points, including an option where you could just join for the workshops and stay off-site. So head over to tinyurl.com/Aliza-retreat to register. tinyurl.com/Aliza-retreat. It's gonna be amazing, and I can't wait to spend this time together with you. Okay. Your weekly brew is coming up. Look at this brew. Look at this color. Look at this blend. Let's get into it. Stay tuned. We'll be right back after a short break. Welcome, my beautiful community, to Astrology and to your Monday Weekly Brew. It's me, Aliza Kelly, your host, your spiritual friend, apparently your fashionista. Look at this dress. It's giving Gemini. Are these hibiscus flowers? I don't know, but it's making me feel some kind of way. I specifically decided that this was going to be the dress that was necessary to wear for the episode all about Gemini season because it's giving clown. It's giving glamorous clown, which I think really is the way that we should move into this new season ahead. Everyone should be a glamorous clown. And also, I know that you're always asking, is it Newly? It literally is always Newly. Newly, if you're listening, knock, knock, come sponsor the show. Astrology would love to have you. I'm always in a different Newly rental gown. This is probably the most Gemini intro I could intro because this is the week where chaos reigns supreme. We have a vibe shift, babies. We have a big, bad vibe shift coming in hot. And the theme of the week is think fast. Woo, watch out, because the planets are moving, and that means it's time for us to pivot too. But wait a gosh darn minute. Hold on. I said think fast. I didn't say panic. I didn't say spiral. I didn't say catastrophize. No. The astrology is bringing us into a moment where we need to be alert. We need to be present. We need to be quick. We need to be quick-witted, but we still need to stay within our window of tolerance, okay? So how can we stay aware without being so overstimulated that we crash out? Or the opposite, right? Shut down. Or, some freaky combination of going catatonic and yet still somehow causing a scene, which is really like the most evil blend of them all. Okay, well, let's talk about it. At the very top of the week, we have two major planetary ingresses. Yes, we do, within hours of each other. Mars, which is the planet of drive and action and desire. And as I like to say, Austin Powers, Jumbo Jet, it's leaving Aries and it's moving into Taurus. And this is a huge energetic shift because Mars in Aries is fast and impulsive and immediate. Mars in Taurus is deliberate and grounded and patient, which is nice, but don't romanticize Mars in Taurus too much because I'm sorry to say that Mars doesn't really love to be in Taurus. Traditionally, Mars is actually considered to be in its detriment, in Taurus, because Mars does not appreciate the fact that Taurus is all about touching grass when Mars would actually like to plow through said grass to get to where it wants to go. But alas, somehow we have to do it all, right? We laugh, we love, we heal, we feel, and we also need to learn to slow down. And especially after 6 weeks of Mars in Aries, honey, we have to catch our breath or else we're going to hyperventilate. But immediately after Mars moves into Taurus, we do have some good news, which is that Venus, the planet of love and pleasure and beauty and connection, ooh la la, is moving into Cancer. Venus in Cancer is intuitive. It wants to feel safe. It values feeling held. It values feeling loved. And Venus enjoys being in Cancer because it's truly giving Nana's beach house aesthetic, little shells, little pearls, little nautical details everywhere. I love it. It's the vision. And like there is something so safe about a Nancy Meyers moment, right? Venus in Cancer is Nancy Meyers core. And Mars in Taurus and Venus in Cancer really like each other. They are going to form an instant sextile, which basically means they are obsessed with each other. And that's really fun and flirty and sweet. And for all of us at the very top of the week, this feels like we're going to be blessed with some emotional intelligence, some sweetness, some commitments that actually make us feel grounded, maybe getting some like cute little biscuits at Nancy Meyers' Nana's house, Cape Cod by the shore. We love the aesthetic and we also love the romance, and we're here for the long walks on the beach, the romantic dinners for two. J'adore. We could all use it, especially because the rest of the week is so very different. On Wednesday, the sun yeets itself into Gemini, which means happy solar return to our Gemini freak-a-leaks. Gemini, where are you at? You are everywhere. You know it. I know it. We all know it. Gemini birthday is really party season, okay? party time for everyone. There's a lot of tea here, obviously, astrology, but the most recent tea is how Billie Eilish was talking about Geminis. And she basically was saying how she adores Gemini girlies, but Gemini men are the worst, which means she has like rebooted this tale as old as time Gemini conversation, Gemini lore, which is like, are Geminis truly the essence of evil? Which I feel like even before I was an astrologer, I knew about the Gemini reputation. Granted, I also want to mention that Billie Eilish is a Sagittarius, which happens to be Gemini's opposite sign. And Gemini and Sagittarius attract because opposites attract, but when it's combustible, it like really explodes. So it makes sense that she had this experience. We'd have to look at the rest of her chart to really unpack. But for now, for this moment, with Gemini season ahead, with all of us trying to figure out how to get on Gemini's invite list, let's talk about it. What the fuck is the deal with Geminis? Why are they always in the hot seat? Are they the root of evil? They're not. They're not. Let's just say that right now. Yes, we have some evil Geminis out there. Yes, we have some freaky deakies running the show. Because Gemini is a lot, but it doesn't always have to manifest in such a way. So Gemini is the first air sign of the zodiac. And I always say that when it comes to our first time interacting with an element, which are the first 4 signs of the zodiac, Aries is first fire, Taurus is first earth, Gemini is first air, and Cancer, which is coming up next in line, is going to be first water. We are dealing with a raw, almost childlike expression of understanding that sensation, of understanding what that energy means for us. So in the case of Aries, it's the first time that we are experiencing a sense of passion and competition. For Taurus, it's the first time that we're experiencing our pleasures and our taste. For Gemini, it's the first time that we are forming connections. For Cancer, it's the first time that we are going to be experiencing our sensitivities. But back to Gemini, the first time that we're thinking, the first time that we're speaking, the first time that we are figuring out how we relate to others, like truly it's giving my 2.5-year-old at preschool. Like she's hot gossing with her fellow little tiny friends about who's taking turns on the swings. I get these very sort of like dramatic, inaccurate stories, not inaccurate in the way that like an adult might be inaccurate. It's not misinformation, but just like processing through the mind of a 2.5-year-old, not the most reliable narrator, right? It's kind of giving Gemini. If you recall, once upon a time, you also had a feral little brain during your first play dates, during your first snack times, during your first exchanges, figuring out how you related to your peers, to others in these social environments. You probably had a lot of things that you wanted to say. You probably had a lot of thoughts that you wanted to try out. You were probably constantly being told like, honey, no, we don't say that. Or like, honey, no, that hurts their feelings. Or like, honey, you have to say please. Or like, honey, you have to say sorry. Or like, honey, why would you do that? What does that mean, right? And that is still today, the Gemini experience, period. It doesn't matter if a Gemini is 2.5 years old or they're 25 or they're 50. Gemini is still trying to figure out what they can say, what they can't say, what they should say. And also, they still want to go on as many playdates as they can. They still want to be at the party. They still want to go to the concert. They still want to talk to that person. They still want to text that friend. Okay, so that friend may have bailed on them 2 months ago. They don't care. Okay, so that friend is someone else's ex. What's the big deal? And because Gemini is still just learning how to exist as a social being in the world, they had to do something really quite wild, which is they had to duplicate themselves. I mean, have you ever been so busy that you were like, shit, I wish there were 2 of me? Gemini was like, aye, aye, Captain, solved. Figured it out. There's 2 of me now, which is fantastic for Gemini because they can literally have one side of them that's like learning percussion with like the world most important, seminal, significant drummer of like the jam band movement. And then, you know, at the same time, they're marching on Washington, starting advocacy groups for underserved youth. truth, like, yes, you can do it all. And Gemini is like, yeah, I do have a lot of hobbies and interests and passions and ideas. Is that a crime? Should I be arrested? Straight to jail? No. Gemini, we're not saying that. Gemini should not be arrested for simply being Gemini. We love Gemini. We need Gemini. We also all have Gemini somewhere in our birth chart. So it's critical that all of us figure out the Gemini within so that we can unlock and unleash our bounty of curiosities and proclivities. The issue is, and this I think is where Gemini gets into trouble, is that not everyone is about that life of duplication. Let's not call it a double life just yet. It can be, but it's a life of duplication. Some people just want synthesis. You know what I mean? Some people just want you to focus on one thing at a time. Some people want you to not go over there and do that thing when you're supposed to be over here with them. Some people are expecting that you are going to just like lock in and actually do the thing that you said you were going to do without deciding to change course over and over and over again. Listen, it's not coming from a place of judgment. This is just fact, right? Gemini is mercurial. It is, in fact, ruled by Mercury. So Gemini is inherently fast and quick and scattered and iPad kid energy. It's everywhere. And that's why we love it, because it's a reminder that maybe it's okay to just try something. And maybe it's okay to then step away from it. And maybe not everything needs to be so serious and so intense all the time. And maybe we can just like have a little fun, gossip a little bit, tell a little story that's like 90% true and call it a day. And this is why our theme of the week is Think Fast, because Gemini is gathering data by engaging with life itself. It's asking questions, it's sending texts, it's opening tabs, it's researching, it's reading the comments section, it's writing comments, making connection, it's double booking. And like, what is life if we are not getting a little dizzy from time to time, people? So as the sun enters Gemini, we are shifting from the Taurus embodiment to the Gemini observation and participation. We're thinking, how do we go from what do I value into what am I noticing? From what feels stable into what's changing? Because don't forget, honey, Gemini is a mutable sign. It's shifting us from spring into summer. And this really for all of us is about a willingness to change. And then immediately after the sun enters Gemini, things get weird, obviously, but not only because it's Gemini season, not only because Gemini is an inherent freak-a-leak. It's because on Friday, the sun is forming a conjunction with Uranus at 1 degree of Gemini. Yes, it is. And because Uranus is going to be sitting right in the heart of the sun, this is a cazimi, a supercharged moment of Uranian insight and disruption and awakening and absolutely unhinged revelations. And this, my friends, is actually the very first time that the sun and Uranus are going to be meeting in the sign of Gemini. Because for the past 7 years, they've been linking up in Taurus. But now with Uranus just recently moving into zippy, zappy, zoppy, zodiac Gemini, it's kicking off a whole new journey of this Gemini hang. And we have a whole episode of astrology on Uranus and Gemini, what it means, along with what Uranus means in your chart. So if you haven't listened, check those out to go deeper into all things Uranus, not Uranus. But ultimately, you should know that Uranus in Gemini moves really fast. It talks really fast. It thinks really fast, processes information really fast. So a Uranus cazimi, especially in Gemini, is really zone of genius, okay? But also like, pop, blowing a fuse. And then it's like, oh my God, you're so awake and you're so alive. But also, oh my God, your nervous system, honey, it's being decimated. But then we also have Venus in Cancer squaring Neptune in Aries the same day. So we need to be careful about projection and fantasy, just like getting things all twisted. Not every revelation you have has to be immediate. Not everything needs to be a press conference. Treat your ideas with respect and reverence, but also recognize that not every idea is going to be great, okay? That's fine. Ideas are cool, even when some of them are not that good. By Sunday, the sun is going to be sextiling Neptune in Aries, which is also going to help us do a lot of integration, okay? So the week is a weird one. This is a wild week. There's lots of different vibes happening simultaneously. Obviously, it's the beginning of Gemini season, right? We have sweetness and romance and Nancy Meyers. We also have absolute total chaos. We also have some sort of like fantasy and projection. We have a little bit of integration. It's giving stimulants and hallucinogenics at the same time, which is so scary. Keep me very far away from that energy. But at the same time, like, I'm curious. So for all of us, let's stay curious, okay? Let's stay nimble. Let's think fast. But also, when your body needs to rest, you need to rest, okay? Even on this cuckoo week, when we are double fisting Red Bulls and also like mushrooms, rest is still going to be your friend, your best friend. So take it when you can. And now here is your journal prompt for the week ahead. Where have I been taking my life a little too seriously? And how can I infuse a little more play and curiosity into those spaces? Okay, so now let us pivot over to my tarot deck over here and get our pull for the week. Last week we pulled the Wheel of Fortune, which is such a big deal, major arcana card. It's so like anything can happen. Let's roll the dice. Let's take a risk. So let's see how we're building on that this week for this wild and crazy moment of Gemini season beginning and Uranus being back in the picture in such a big, bad way. Okay, who is she? What do we need to know? It's this one. It's this one. Oh, it's Two of Cups. I love this card. I love this card so much. And this is such a sweet vibration of Gemini energy. Okay, so Two of Cups, which actually was part of my aesthetic inspo during my wedding, I'm not even kidding, is such a gorgeous card about relationships and connections. And I would say this is actually very high vibration, Gemini, because this is about how partnership can help you feel seen, help you feel loved, and help you connect with different emotional truths than you would be able to access and understand on your own. One of my favorite things about this card is that in my traditional Rider-Waite-Smith deck, the female character is wearing the traditional male headdress and the male is wearing the traditional female headdress. She's wearing a wreath. He's wearing a crown of roses. So this shows that like we are swapping perspectives. We're looking at something from a different point of view. We are giving ourselves permission to see something through the eyes of another, through the eyes of a loved one. And then we also have this stunning exchange of energy between the cups, which in tarot represents our emotions and our intuition. And all of this is being supported by the caduceus, which is literally the staff of Mercury, Hermes, that he would use to either send people to the underworld when it was their time to go or heal people and bring them back to life. And we see the caduceus on hospitals, on ambulances. It's associated with health. So this is the real mental health support of good partnership, of good alliances, of good alignments, and how when you feel seen and loved and held by someone else, it really gives you permission to access deeper dimensions of your own process and progress and movement through time and space. And I love this vibration of Gemini because it's such a reminder that our connections are actually more than just like getting on a party list. They're part of our healing journey. Coming up next, it's time to find out what Gemini season means for you. Yes, you. Stay tuned for your personalized horoscope for your sun and your rising sign after this quick break. Welcome back, community. It is time for this week's personalized horoscopes. And as always, I want to remind you of two things. Listen to this, okay? Because people keep asking, should I listen for my sun or my rising? And the answer every time is listen to both. Because together, these two are going to tell a more complete story about where the themes of the week are showing up for you and how you can pair them together, partner them. We're all about doubling right now, Gemini season, and like create a more comprehensive narrative. And then number two, use the timestamps or the chapters, okay? We have something special for every single sign. So after you listen to yours, go listen to your friends, listen to your mommy, listen to your child, listen to your boss. Let's do it. Hello, Aries. Your personal theme for the week is information overload. Yes, it is. The sun is moving into Gemini, and that is activating the area of your chart associated with communications and ideas and hot goss. It's the tea, Aries, the hottest tea in town. You're co-hosting with me now, which means you basically are popping an Adderall, chugging a Celsius, and switching between texting your crush, Googling which celebrities are unexpected Nepo babies, please tell me, and then also trying to make a 5 p.m. deadline that your boss is really not playing about. So your phone is buzzing, your inbox is filling, you're halfway through 3 conversations when suddenly you look at the time. Holy shit. You are really, really behind schedule. But also, you're alive, baby. You haven't felt this good in years. Aries, this week, you are waking up. Ding, 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 ding. Alarms are going off. And it's a reminder that life is more interesting when you stay curious. But this week, you also need to remember that you need to integrate what you are learning, or you are just consuming. To consume. You are just another cog in the machine, right? You are just being served very expensive marketing and taking it, but you're not being critical about it. And that means that you're not actually processing what you're receiving. So it's great if you use this really fast-paced, quick thinking Gemini energy in a productive way. But if you're just staying up until 2 a.m. for literally no reason, honey, like, what's the point? What's the use? And then don't forget that the sun and Uranus are forming a cazimi, and that's literally going to plug that beautiful brain of yours into the electrical grid. Careful, because a conversation may change your perspective in a very big way, may really rock your world by the end of the week. And Aries, you're going to find yourself having this special and rare opportunity to connect the dots. Maybe things that previously felt like they were disjointed are going to come together. There's a eureka moment, and it's all great and delightful and delicious, but you need to make sure that while you are staying so high vibe and keeping the energy up and staying excited, that you are not just spinning on a hamster wheel, okay? Being busy for the sake of being busy can only get you so far. I'm sorry, Aries, you still need sleep. You still need water. You still need food. You still need maybe 10 minutes without doom scrolling. So just try it. Don't forget that Mars is in Taurus now. It's all of our invitation to like touch a little grass, and make sure that as all of this information is being thrown at you, thrown in your face, that you know what to catch, what to dodge, and when to be like, stop fucking throwing things at me. Taurus, we need to do maybe like a hard reboot this week, okay? Your birthday season is over. I'm sorry. I hope you had a great time. But now Gemini is up. And Gemini season is activating the area of your chart associated with money and confidence and priorities and possessions and resources. And if Taurus, you're like, sounds great. I know this. This is my vibe. Hold on. This also means that we need to do a cost-benefit analysis on everything in your life. And maybe you weren't totally prepared for that. Maybe you weren't totally prepared to think about, hey, is my job actually giving me what I need? Are my relationships giving me what I need? Are my subscriptions giving me what I need? Is my skincare routine giving me what I need? Why are concert tickets literally always over $500 now? Didn't you used to go to shows for like $20? Why are eggs still $14? Wasn't that a whole thing? Why are you accepting these terms when they're not working for you anymore? Taurus, there's a lot of mental activity around your relationship with security and money and spending. And this isn't necessarily negative, because over the next few days, you're going to get increasingly more clear about what actually matters to you, what feels worth your time and your energy, and yes, you spending money on it. And that's fantastic because Taurus, you have changed a lot, especially recently. Even your birthday season, these past 4 weeks have been very transformative for you. But your systems and your financial habits may not have yet caught up with the person that you are today. And also, Mars, the planet of action, is moving into your sign this week. And that's a very big deal, Taurus. There's going to be a sudden burst of urgency behind your decisions now. You're feeling motivated. You're done waiting around. You want to move. You want to make things happen. You want to get things done. You want your plans to actually be brought to life. And by the end of the week, when the Sun and Uranus, cazimi, and Gemini, there is probably going to be a very unexpected financial breakthrough that also synthesizes everything and helps you really understand why it's important for you to think about your financial realities right now. You may literally get money out of nowhere. You may suddenly be like receiving a check in the mail and you're like, whoa, I didn't even know that I was owed that. And then now you have to think about like, what do I want to spend that on? Do I want to save it? Is there something I should be paying off with it? Or maybe it's less about actually getting money in and more about recognizing what your worth is. Or maybe it's about money going out. And you're looking around and thinking like, oh, wow, I have a lot of bills. I have really created a life for myself that is getting very stressful to live in. So what should I do to make things a little bit easier on myself so I don't feel so nervous all the time about these paychecks, right? Ultimately, Taurus, this week is about building and establishing a new relationship with abundance and prosperity. But, remember that abundance is not just about money. It's really at its core about self-respect, respecting yourself enough to know what you deserve and what you should be doing with the resources that you have. And that's kind of tea. Gemini, happy birthday to ya. Happy birthday, happy birthday to ya. I think that's my favorite happy birthday option. Gemini, you tell me which one you like. We're singing to you. Happy solar return. That's actually how astrologers say happy birthday, because it means that the sun is coming all the way back around and yeeting itself into your section of the sky where the sun was when you were born. But this year, it's not just the sun in your delightful zodiac sign. No. Uranus, the planet of shocking and unexpected things, is there too. For the first time in 84 years, the sun and Uranus are both in Gemini together. And that means, well, anything can happen. Ooh, what a birthday present. And honey, this is going to be more embodied for you than anyone else because the sun in your sign and Uranus in your sign is activating your identity and your appearance and your sense of self and the way you move through the world. You are changing. You really are. Your thoughts are changing. Your desires are changing. Your priorities are changing. I totally get it. 1 minute you're researching ceramics classes in upstate New York, and then the next minute you're like, hold on. I am going to become a TikTok star. I am going to become so famous on this platform. And then also you're like, wait, how much does it cost to move to Copenhagen and start a podcast about whales? And like, I love all of it for you. And maybe there is some thread between them. But at the same time, it's very important to recognize, Gemini, that you are filling yourself to le brim with ideas. You are overflowing with them, really, because with Uranus in your sign, you are not just thinking about how your identity is changing. You're also thinking about how you can revolutionize your own life. There is something really igniting you on a cellular level, and you are getting closer and closer to unlocking something absolutely amazing, Gemini. In fact, that unlock may happen this week because of this Uranus cazimi. But I also want to remind you that you don't necessarily need to reinvent your entire life in a 7-day period just because you are having these profound conversations with your therapist. But it also is actually giving 2 of Cups because there is an opportunity for you this week to have a dialogue that allows you to see yourself reflected back and get a better sense of what you want moving forward. The point is that you really are in motion right now, and you should be in motion. A body in motion stays in motion. But while you are experimenting and exploring, just try not to throw out the baby with the bathwater, right? The things that are working in your life because they are working. Just try to keep them intact as much as you can while also doing the ceramics thing and becoming a TikTok star and also moving to Copenhagen. We're here for it. Hi, Cancer. Can we be honest for a second with each other? You need a mental detox. And if no one in your personal life is going to have that intervention with you and tell it to your face, let me, your devoted, loyal, caring astrologer, tell you that you need to stop, drop, and roll. Roll directly into that bed. You need a breaky poo in a big way. Gemini season is activating the area of your chart associated with mental health and intuition and dreams and the subconscious and all of your emotional processing, which means a lot is going to be coming up over the next few weeks. And this week in particular is very significant. You are going to start feeling yourself become more sensitive and more emotional than usual. Maybe a little nostalgic, maybe a little haunted by these old conversations that keep replaying, these disappointments, these versions of yourself that you keep thinking back on. And you're like, if only I had done it differently then, I would be in a different position, in a different situation now. Cancer, enough of that, okay? Part of the lesson of this week is recognizing that you cannot change the past and you cannot process your feelings adequately while simultaneously overextending yourself. So you need time to slow down and sit with your own thoughts so that you can actually let some of these pain points go. You need rest. You need the space to hear yourself think. You need a pillow to smash your head into and have a cry in. But this is all really good, right? This is all really like the right time. You know, obviously your birthday season is coming up next, but also this week, Venus, the planet of love and beauty and pleasure and connection, is going to be moving into your sign. And that is a reminder that softness and sensitivities and care can be a value system, that you are allowed to receive help, you're allowed to give help, but you're also allowed to be in that exchange of softness and sweetness and vulnerability in a way that's going to support you in processing and integrating whatever is coming up. By the end of the week, the Sun and Uranus smooch. They form a cazimi, and you are going to get a big psychic download. It's going to be a dream or an epiphany. It's going to be through a conversation. However it arrives, you are suddenly going to realize that there is this big universal truth that you need to get. And that universal truth is quite literal and quite embodied for you. It has to do with this thing that you have been absolutely haunted by. And when you get it, you are going to feel so free. You are going to feel so liberated by understanding it. So your assignment is really just to create the space for that to come through. Put the phone down, get some more sleep, spend less time trying to keep up with everyone else and more time just tending to your own emotional needs. This message that's coming for you is going to be really powerful, but you could miss it if you keep gaslighting yourself into believing that you don't need to be paying attention right now, that you don't need to slow down, that you can keep going at the pace you are going at. You can't, you shouldn't. It's not in your best interest. And trust me when I say a little time away is going to really help you come back stronger and cooler and hotter than ever before. Hello, Leo. It is time to serve 2 weeks notice because, honey, your social life is about to become a full-time job. Gemini season is activating the area of your chart associated with friendship and collaboration and community and networking and long-term goals, which means, honey, your calendar is filling up fast. Invitations are flying in. Somebody wants to collaborate. Somebody wants to pick your brain. Somebody wants to grab a drink and talk about an opportunity, which honestly could mean anything. Are they flirting with you? Leo, you bet they are. And while a big part of you is loving it, adoring the energy, because why wouldn't you? You're a Leo. I mean, is that a crime? Another part of you, an important part of you, remember Gemini is all about the duality, is realizing that not every connection deserves access to you, that not every connection is actually bountiful, and that energy vampires do exist and they are leeching right now. They are in season. The energy vampires are out for blood. And here's the thing. This week is about discernment because now Mars is in Taurus and it's moving through the very top of your chart, activating career and ambition and visibility and public reputation. And that means, honey, the pressure is building professionally. You are thinking more seriously about where your life is heading and your future and your calling and your Wikipedia page. And now you're thinking like, wait, what does success mean to me? Are people actually here to help me live out my dreams? Or are they trying to get something out of me in a way that is going to tap me dry and also potentially even derail me from these bigger plans and hopes and this broader direction that I want to go in? And Leo, oh my God, we don't want that, okay? No. So by the end of the week, recognize that with the Sun-Uranus cazimi coming in hot in Gemini, you are going to have a major breakthrough around who is here to help you and who is here to help turn your dreams into reality, right? Tapping into the collective unconscious and who is actually here to strip you down, to take those resources, those natural energetic centers of yours and to use and abuse them for their own gain. Boo! You're going to recognize that a random conversation really gives you a lot of information about these dynamics in your life. Or maybe you're realizing that, yeah, some of these relationships were helpful in the past, but now I have a more refined and mature relationship with success, and I don't need to do these types of things. I don't need to play these games. I'm over it. And all of this, Leo, is a very good thing. Because, honey, it's giving maturity, it's giving new chapter, it's giving true success on your terms, it's giving caring about your own future rather than trying to get external validation by going to like some random happy hour that is really just not worth your while. Leo, be discerning. Choose wisely. Virgo, we have some big exciting news, which is that this week is major for your career. It is a big week for your professional life, for your legacy, for your success. Gemini season is activating the area of your chart associated with visibility and reputation and your public image and your ambition, which means suddenly, Virgo baby, you are in the spotlight. Your boss has feedback. Your clients have questions. Suddenly, there's a new position opening up and you're like, I think I'm perfect for it. Should I apply? Yes, Virgo, you absolutely should. But honestly, this week isn't just about slapping on more job titles to your resume, to your linky dinky in. It's really about carving out the bigger direction, okay? Mars is moving through Taurus as of this week, Taurus being a fellow Earth sign, and that's activating the part of your chart associated with expansion and growth and travel and philosophy and future possibilities. And after spending so much time obsessing over the tiny little details, this week you're going to start to realize that your life needs to feel bigger again. You want to have some experiences that can open some exciting, big, gothic doors, right? Inspiring doors that lead you into cathedrals and libraries and like magical castles, right? You are craving a future that actually liberates you rather than one that keeps you trapped and stuck in a small life where other people's hopes and wishes and dreams are being fulfilled because you are working like a little bee and making it happen. Oh no. Virgo, what about your hopes and wishes and dreams? Don't those deserve recognition? Yes, they do, of course. But we also need to figure out what they are. So by the end of the week, all of this is going to be coming together. Sun, Uranus, cazimi in Gemini, a big breakthrough as to what the fuck you even want. And whatever it is, whenever you get that information, have a nice sip of water and be like, okay, I think I'm ready for it. And you don't need to worry, and you don't need to worry about overthinking it. You don't need to worry about how it makes sense with like the bigger trajectory of everyone else's life. You just think about what honestly and truly and genuinely is coming through for you, and whether your life today looks like it's moving in the direction of where you want to go. Because honey, this is what it's all about. These new seasons roll in and they give us new perspectives on where we actually want to go. And your life is about to change. Are you ready for it? Because if not, it's time to buckle up. Libra, your worldview is expanding very, very, very quickly this week because Gemini season is activating the area of your chart that is most directly connected to travel and philosophy, perspective, big picture thinking, which means you are hungry for more information, more experiences, more stimulation, more tea, more. And we love this because Gemini is an air sign, you're an air sign, so you both share this insatiable hunger for knowledge, for tea. But this also means that you are going to be very, very restless about the routines in your life that have gone stale, where parts of your day, parts of your week, parts of your month, your life, your year have become to feel too monotonous, too repetitive, too just like the same. You are getting served video after video in your algorithm of the same thing, right? Like what? Why do I keep receiving this same boring ass content? You're listening to podcasts. It's the same guests coming on every single time, rehashing the same jokes 5 million times. You're going to the same job. You're wearing the same clothes. You're like, oh my God, why is everything so boring? And also, why are you the only one who's noticing? No, Libra, trust me, we are all aware of the homogeny that is the year of our Lord 2026. We are all very concerned. But this week, you actually have an opportunity to do something about it, to cut through the sameness by introducing things into your life and therefore into the collective that are challenging, that are interesting, that are different, that are genuinely cool, that are not another 90s movie reboot, that are just like truly something original and authentic. Not to mention that this week Mars is entering Taurus, and that's going to be activating the part of your chart associated with intimacy and vulnerability and trust and shared resources, emotional entanglements. And it's likely that what's actually going to start coming up is a desire for a deeper integration of everything that you have been through over the past few years. So this week, especially at the end of the week when the Sun and Uranus form a cazimi, you are going to find yourself a little bit destabilized as you prepare for some new beginnings. You may really start questioning the life that you're living. Some long-held belief systems that you felt were important for your identity at different times of your life, but now you're like, actually, never mind, scratch that. You may start realizing that some of your preferences are actually coping mechanisms, but you are not receiving all of this so that you could be like totally thrown off course. Actually, all of this information is coming to you so that you can get back on track with your ingenuity, with your creativity, with your interest for innovation and ideas. And you can actually maybe start embracing some new possibilities, bringing something into your life that feels better and more fulfilling and more exciting. So Libra, ultimately, like, it's all a very good thing. It's going to be weird. It's going to be wild, but you're up for the challenge. Scorpio, I'm sorry to say, but Gemini season and the next few weeks, but really starting this week, you are going to have to start thinking a lot about trust. And I know, you're already thinking about trust, like constantly and chronically, like it's practically an obsession at this point. But the Sun's movement into Gemini is activating the area of your chart associated with intimacy and vulnerability and the way that we are tethered to others and power dynamics and transformation. And you get it. You know the drill. For the next few weeks, you are going to have to go full supernatural detective on every aspect of your life. And yeah, obviously it's going to be a lot. And then there's also the fact that Mars, which is one of your planetary rulers, is entering Taurus, which is your opposite sign, and thus activating your relationship sector. So you're also now thinking about your partnerships, right? People are going to be demanding you to really show up. People are going to have a lot of expectations for you and on you. And that, of course, is going to lead to tension, maybe old tension, old arguments that you thought that you had resolved are going to be coming up, surfacing again, rising from the grave. Maybe you're also going to find yourself in situations that you're like, uh-oh, I shouldn't be here. Like, I mean, real talk, like suddenly you're attracted to someone that you shouldn't be attracted to. And you're navigating that feeling, which is obviously tea, but also complicated and hard and weird. Trust as a concept isn't really just about trusting other people. It's also about trusting yourself, right? It's about trusting yourself to know the limits of your dynamics, of your relationships. How far can something go before it is no longer appropriate? Or maybe you're willing to risk it all. Listen, I'm not judging, but I am saying that this week is asking you to examine the difference between intensity, a strong emotion, and intimacy, because those are not always the same thing. Sometimes chemistry is just chemistry and you leave it at that, okay? Obsession is more of a signal for you than anything else. And sometimes also the people who trigger the strongest reactions within us are really just holding a mirror up to parts of ourselves that we do not fully understand yet. They have something we want, but that thing that they have that we want is actually something that we want to generate in ourselves. You feel me? Ultimately, all of this is going to come to a head by Friday, when the Sun and Uranus, the planet of shocking things, get to smooching. And then just like that, you're going to get all the information you need to know what your next move should be. Are you going to do something crazy? Are you going to wait it out? My advice as your humble astrologer is don't do anything that you may end up regretting. I mean, come on, it's not even officially summer yet. You have plenty of time to make bad decisions. But this week, with this Uranus cazimi, actions are going to have consequences. Hello, Sagittarius. This week, the sun is moving into Gemini, your opposite sign, which means happy half birthday. Happy birthday. Whatever. Why not? Happy birthday, Sagittarius. Basically, with the sun in your opposite sign, there's so much of your chart that is going to be lit up around identity, except it's by way of partnership and commitment and collaboration and contracts and one-on-one dynamics. It's giving Two of Cups, okay? It's giving seeing yourself through someone else, because suddenly you are like, oh my God, I'm getting all of these opportunities and people are interested in me and people want me to commit. They want me to lock in, but wait, why do they need me to lock in? People want me to do what? Lock in? Me? A Sagittarius? No, that's not you. Because the thing is that Sag, you are very good at keeping doors open, right? You are very good at maintaining lots of different possibilities in tandem. You want the energy flowing. You want all of the things that are coming for you to actually have time to really build into something that's exciting and meaningful. You don't want to close any doors. You don't want to turn anything down. You don't want to commit to something before you know what is actually on the other side of it. But this is the moment where you actually need to make some decisions around how you are in alignment with partners, jobs, relationships, contracts. Every year around this time, the energy shifts from focusing from what your needs are to how your needs are either reflected or deflected by other people and their needs and their perspectives and their expectations and their feelings. And while part of you finds this very deeply annoying, real talk all the time, it's also incredibly important to recognize that your identity is theoretical until it is realized by the relationships in your life. That's T. Your relationships reveal things about you that you would never be able to discover entirely on your own. So if you don't want to commit, why not? Is it something about the opportunity? Or is it something about you, Sagittarius? By the end of the week, when the Sun and Uranus meet in Gemini, don't be surprised if you need to make a decision very quickly, okay? Somebody is going to say something unexpected, or an opportunity that you thought you could take your time with. Suddenly it's like, no, you need to decide now or we're moving on to someone else. Or maybe you actually get served the paperwork that you knew was coming and now you have to sign it, right? Or somebody is like, hey, will you marry me? And you're like, whoa, I thought we were just hooking up. You are going to realize that there are certain commitments that you need to actually buck up and accept. And then there are other commitments that you're like, I don't want this because I don't want to be associated with it. I don't want my identity to be tied indefinitely to this thing. And because Uranus thrives on disruption, this is really going to have like an element of surprise and disruption and maybe even some destruction to it. But Sagittarius, these are important considerations, right? Because your life is changing rapidly in a big way. And now you need to figure out who you want to come with you into these next chapters, these next adventures, or who's better off staying in the past. Hi, Capricorn. This week, with the Sun moving into Gemini, you are going to be forced to confront the very important difference between being productive and being busy. And unfortunately for you, those are not always the same thing. In fact, they rarely are the same thing. Gemini season is going to be lighting up the area of your chart associated with your daily obligations. And honey, we all know your calendar is filled to the brim. We get it. But what's actually going on in there? What do your days look like? And why do they look like that at all? But let's really unpack this for a second, Capricorn, okay? Because some of what's happening right now is legitimate responsibility, no question. Things you have to do. People are relying on you. Deadlines exist. No one can do it better than you, Capricorn. I get it. But some of this is also avoidance. And some of this avoidance is very Capricornianly disguised as efficiency. And let me just put it this way. Spending 2 hours reorganizing your Google Drive is fine. But if you have something else you should be doing, something that is actually meaningful, something that could actually move the needle, why aren't you doing that? Why is this the moment that you have decided to spend 2 hours reorganizing your Google Drive? Do you see what I'm saying? Somewhere down the line, you have convinced yourself that if you stay busy enough, then you don't actually have to put yourself in vulnerable situations. Maybe doing all of these little productive things over here, that's productive in air quotes for my audio listeners, is actually a fine thing to do, because it doesn't really involve you putting yourself out there and taking a risk and being vulnerable. And if you're not vulnerable, then you can't really be rejected. You know what I mean? And part of what the astrology of this week is trying to get you to untangle is that you don't need to fear other people's judgment or expectations of you, especially because this week Venus, the planet of love and beauty and values, is moving into Cancer, which is your opposite sign. This week, part of what you are going to be processing is how your relationships inform what your productivity looks like. You're realizing that a lot of what you have been afraid to confront is what other people are going to be judging you for. But if they don't understand you, Capricorn, and if they never will understand you, then why does their perspective even matter? By the end of the week, when the Sun and Uranus are going to be smooching in Gemini, you're going to realize that real connections, real opportunities, real support doesn't just need you to be busy and only productive in the ways that you are already good at. They want you to take risks. They want you to put yourself out there. The people who see you as special because you are special, not because you are busy. And that is the thing that you need to hold close in the days ahead. Hi, Aquarius. I have good news. You're still alive. You are still inspired. And you are so fucking back. Yes, you are. Gemini season is coming in hot, activating the area of your chart associated with creativity, romance, pleasure, artistry, attention, desire, self-expression. And this means that you suddenly have a pep back in your step. You want to flirt. You want to make things. You want to stay out way too late, having bizarre conversations with fascinating people at random dive bars. You want to be inspired. You want momentum. You want the feeling of becoming so obsessed with an idea that you forget what day it is. Aquarius, honey, we love this. Okay? This is what you have been craving. This is what you have been looking for. This is what you have been waiting for. And it's here for you. Because part of what is happening in your life this week and in the weeks to come is that you are reconnecting with your own spark. Somewhere down the line, you may have become so focused on surviving or fixing a problem or managing a responsibility or planning a big move that you have drifted away from the things that actually make you feel creatively charged. But Gemini energy is moving quickly. And for you, Aquarius, it's moving through one of the most joyful, expressive, creative parts of your chart. And you are going to feel like finally ready to play again, or maybe even date again, or revisit something that you had put on hold because you were like, that's too silly. No, it's not. Stop overthinking and actually just exist again. By the end of the week, we have the Sun and Uranus meeting in Gemini and Aquarius. Honey, it's so big. It's so important for you. This is such major astrology for Aquarius because Uranus is your modern planetary ruler, and in Gemini, which is an air sign like you, the energy is brilliant, okay? You are going to feel like your mind is moving at lightning speed, connecting patterns and possibilities like a fucking superhero, and you are literally going to be jumping from one timeline to the next, and that is going to feel amazing for you because you have been waiting for a breakthrough. You have been waiting for something to help get you into this next cycle, this next chapter, this next phase of life. So this week, I have no notes. Literally, like, let yourself follow the excitement, follow the fascination, follow those weird ideas that keep like rat-a-tat-tapping on your psyche. Literally follow someone on Instagram that you have a crush on, because why the fuck not? Let your little fun-loving freak flag fly and reconnect with the joy of being alive, because, honey, life is short. You don't have weeks like this forever. So when you have it, rock and roll, tap in, lock in, let's do it. Live, laugh, love, honey. That's the Aquarius way, for the next 7 days at least. Hello, Pisces. This week, Gemini season is activating the area of your chart connected to home and family and emotional security and your roots and your origin story and your private life and basically everything that has informed why you are the way you are, including your mental health, which means you are suddenly thinking very seriously about your environment, your space, your living situation, where you belong, where you can relax, where you can kick off your shoes and let that mermaid tail whip around. And honestly, Pisces, you may realize that part of why you have felt so emotionally discombobulated lately is because your nervous system has not actually felt settled for a long time because you're not really feeling safe in your environment. Gemini energy is all about moving fast. And for you, that pacing feels a little overwhelming. Gemini is the twins, and you are actually symbolized by two fish swimming in opposite directions. And it's not twin energy. So you and Gemini are kind of like two peas in a pod, and that makes an orgy because there's four. Also, not to mention that Gemini is a mutable sign. It's occurring between spring and summer. You're a mutable sign. Your season is between winter and spring. So it's kind of like this vibe is seeing yourself in a different light. And you're like, ooh, am I really like that? Gemini is like too close to home, you know? And because this concept of duality is being activated universally this week, for you are going to feel that sense of two fish swimming in opposite directions. You're going to feel pulled in opposite directions, thinking about the past, thinking about the future, thinking about your family and where you come from, thinking about the family that you want to build. And all the while, Mars, which is the planet of action, is moving into Taurus, and that's speeding up things relating to your processing and the way that you're connecting, and your phone is exploding and you're having conversations and people are over explaining themselves and you're under explaining, and then you're disappearing for 3 days and people are like, where are you? And it's all very classique Pisces, but none of it is helping you feel grounded. By the end of the week, when the Sun and Uranus meet in Gemini, you are going to figure out what you have been seeking and why you're feeling so stressed. A conversation with an important family member or relative or close confidant or a spouse or someone that you really regard as family is going to change your perspective on what you're doing and why. And suddenly you understand why that dynamic has been playing out the way it's been playing out. And maybe this dynamic has actually been playing out in your life in different relationships for years and years and years. Or maybe you realize that that version of home that you have been chasing no longer exists. And while you are in the process of creating something new, that is why you feel so unmoored right now. Because you are literally in a liminal space. You're hovering between where you were and where you're going. And you kind of just need to swim through this time. But how long do you need to be in that liminal space for, Pisces? Because it's important that you do know when you are going to arrive at the destination. Ultimately, the best thing that you can do in the days ahead and even in the weeks ahead as we move through Gemini season is to figure out what safety means within yourself at the very core of your being. Because when you have that, it doesn't really matter what's happening in your external world. It doesn't really matter where you are or where you're going. If you can keep that peace within yourself, you can go anywhere. And that's a very nice passport to have. And that is all for this episode. What did you think? What did you love? What resonated? Let me know in the comments. Let me know what you think. And be sure to join me on Wednesday. We're having a tea party. And then, of course, next Monday, I'm back again. Always, every single week. 2 episodes, Mondays and Wednesdays. So don't forget to rate 5 stars. Yes, 5 stars. Review, follow, and subscribe. And tell your friends so you don't miss a beat. See you soon.